It is my pleasure to bring up to the stage our panelists. We have Scott Burke with Peak. Round of applause. Come on, guys. We have Tim Duong, CEO and co-founder of Real Coin Global. We have Kevin Sultani, founder of GIMA Group. And we have Nadav Moskovich, and he is with INX. Whoops. All right. So today, our mics are all right there, guys. We're going to be talking about RWA tokenization. As I mentioned, I just want each of our panelists to go around and introduce themselves to you because we truly have experts here. Scott, do you want to take it away? We can go this way.
Yeah, thanks for having the panel. Appreciate it. I'm Scott. I'm the Web3 and DPIN growth lead at Peak Network. Peak Network is a layer 1 for DPINs. We take everyday devices, machines, different kinds of cars, robotics, and we're turning everything into an economy of things, which we'll get into later.
Awesome. Tim.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tim. I'm a CEO for Real Coin. We tokenize real estate all over the world, and we blockchain basically all the process of these real estate tokenization from acquisitions, operation, to servicing, and apply AI on top of that.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tim. Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I know it's end of day 2, but we'll keep the energy up here, right? So for such an awesome, sexy topic, too. My name is Kevin Sultani. I come from the VC side. For about 12 years now, we've been investing and operating different blockchain, crypto, Web3 assets. Our focus and passion is in the gaming and tokenization side, so great to get into this. And as it pertains to this, we've been building in different real estate asset tokenization engines over the last 4 or 5 years, but not in the United States, but we'll get into that and have some fun.
Nice. Nadav.
Hi, everyone. Good to be here. Nadav Moskovich from INX, Business Development. I'm not shy, as you can see on the top here. A lot of resemblance, but no, Shai had to unfortunately leave early. Maybe in my next life, I'll be him, hopefully. Yeah, if you're not familiar with INX, we are an SEC-registered ATS, a security exchange platform 24/7. We help companies tokenize and issue tokens on the blockchain, doing it for quite some time now. We're also a broker-dealer, an ATS, as I mentioned, transfer agent, money transmitter licenses, yeah, good to be here.
I actually want to start with that. So that is a huge accomplishment. INX, guys, has the first SEC-registered security token. That is a huge accomplishment. How do you see that opening the way for broader adoption?
Yeah, I mean, we went for almost 3 years it took us to work and sometimes educate the SEC on writing the first F1 prospectus for a digital token on the blockchain. So essentially the first IPO on the blockchain. And this few hundred pages documentation is available obviously publicly online. A lot of companies and issuers and companies in the space review it and follow the path or pick and choose the topics that they're interested in. And from their perspective, the path has been laid out. And from the SEC perspective, it's already written, they already approved it, and it wasn't so easy. Just as an anecdote or as an example, so for example, in the process, the concern was one of the many concerns with the first IPO on the blockchain is, okay, what happens if the wallet gets hacked, the password gets lost, the technical issue, whatever the reason is. It took us quite some time actually to get into the technicalities with the SEC to educate them on Ethereum 1404 protocol and explain to them and show them the technical aspects as well. So they'll not just take our word for it, but they need to really understand how can we transfer, freeze, and reissue tokens. And only when they understood that if you are an investor and you have a wallet, and maybe you lose it, and maybe you lost your utility tokens, your crypto, but you're not going to lose. INX will reissue you the tokens, the security tokens that you lost. Only then they sign that particular part. So, yeah.
I love that. And I'm sure there's a lot of people here, too, they want to do what INX has already done. So how are you paving the way for adoption? How can people here also become approved?
Yeah, so we talk to issuers every day. and we do our best to educate. And yeah, as I've mentioned, we have everything in-house. So it's not that we need to kind of tell them, okay, go find a broker-dealer that specializes in these particular type of, go find a transfer agent. Oh, you want investors with crypto to invest? Okay, go get money transmitter licenses or a company. So we have all of that in-house, and we have the expertise to advise them on all of that. And of course, also, we know a lot of companies and a lot of interested parties are just, Google our F1 prospectus, and there's hundreds of pages of what was already approved by the SEC. So even independently, we know a lot of companies are using that.
Oh, that's great. And speaking of, there's a lot of red tape. Kevin, I mean, your business has offices all over the world. Los Angeles, Dubai, you're everywhere. You've been in this business for 7 years plus. You have this experience. How are you seeing regulatory concerns on different locations? Because I'm sure there's lots of people here as well from all over the world.
Yeah, so like 2016, 17, the only reason why I moved out of Los Angeles, we were crypto miners, one of the first legal crypto mining companies in California's history in 2012. And we sold that company in 2015 because there was just no guidelines. It was actually getting worse. 2015, 16, 17, if you remember, the tax laws were coming down pretty heavily. There was no real clarity on specific crypto mining tax. And it was so messed up that you could fill up a room this size per each miner the way they were trying to outline the tax laws. Every transaction needs to be, essentially taxed, which is crazy. But so we went to Dubai because they had announced Initiative 2020, which every governmental operation would be going on the blockchain, which they did as of 2020. That has been finished. And then they started announcing all these initiatives. You could just literally type the word Dubai and initiative and 16 things will come up. But they do that as a way to put a flag 10 years down the line. And they say, look, this is what we're going to get to. And so now we've had the AI, the metaverse, the DeFi, more recently the gaming. We've had all these initiatives that outline frameworks from the government. That's not been done by any other country in the world. But that the government will say, these are the 5 things that need to be done in order for you to be a licensed exchange. So why do you think all these exchanges are going to the UAE right now? Right? Because there is a framework. I'm not saying it's the best one. I'm sure there's better coming up out of Switzerland, Singapore, and here in the United States, but it's the only one. And so when I look at the next version, because like I've been in Dubai for about 7, 8 years now, it's great, but what else? So now I'm looking at Asia, specifically Thailand. And not because of what has happened recently, but if you go there, you'll see the energy of the crypto industry. It's opposite to the Bali nomad crypto bros. I'm not hitting on Bali at all, but that's where they go to hide, to have fun. In Thailand, specifically Phuket, North Phuket, there's a community of like business operators, men and women that come from corporate America or Europe or Asia. And now they like the environment. It's welcoming, 0 tax for crypto. And now there's regulations coming. The ETF got announced, I'm sure you guys heard, in Thailand, and which is, what the hell, where's Thailand doing in this? All of a sudden we had America, we have Switzerland, and now Thailand. So that's kind of like which one doesn't look like the same in the line. Well, that's the one I want to actually spend some time on because now you have my attention. That's what Dubai was in 2016. It's like, which one is different from the line? It's like, oh, that country. But look at what they did. And so if any other country can do it, you should look outside of America if this next administration is not going to put forth some framework, something. Then what are you doing? Building here. Your retail market is all will be here. But you shouldn't be building here.
See, I love that insight because there's a lot of us, we'd love to go to Thailand and we'd love to do that, but we're here in America. And so what could happen for the next administration? If we're sort of paused right now because there's no framework, what are you thinking future pacing? What could happen with the next administration?
I literally just had this conversation with a friend off stage, and it just doesn't take much. I don't care about the politics. I don't care about the color. It's just something that needs to be told. And I am not the best England fan because of their FCA laws and things like that. We know very well. But at least they've come out with something that says it's a 20% tax just as property. Okay, that's fine. 20%, I'll come back, I'll pay it, I'll bring all the crypto back, and I can live happily ever after in Orange County, California, where I want to. That's all I need. It doesn't take much. We don't even have that, right? Just a number with a percentage and a framework that says, do this, we take that, you get this. It's very simple. It's very simple. They're allowing you to invest in their products because they make their FA fees on the back end, right? They make their advisory shares on the back end. And so what does that look like for micro? They just want their percentage. And so whoever is going to be in office next, we're going to see a shift in the Fed anyway. Whatever color gets elected, Gensler seems to be on his way out anyway. So we're going to see a shift in the next 365 days no matter what. I'm just here telling you, if you don't get a 51% shift, why are you going to struggle for the next 4 years in this industry that's very fast-paced? Why don't you go to another country, check it out, build something, because we don't all have the opportunities of sitting at the SEC's table as these gentlemen for the last, I mean, you guys have been at this for 4 or 5 years.
They're wonderful.
You know, so and if there's anybody from there in this room, you got your plug, you know, but I think it's very indicative, like we move too fast to be sitting and waiting. And so make a decision, see what the world is doing for a topic just like this. Let's bring it back to this topic. Right? It's that third world NFT tokenization.
I love that. And Tim, you talked about that yesterday in your keynote. You started in Vietnam and you went to America as well, and you had the regulatory, people had questions about that and you answered. What I found interesting about your talk yesterday was the operability. So the back end, the unsexy part of RWAs. How are you managing the operability with the tokenization? I know this is the unsexy part, but I think it's also very important.
Yeah, I think I was talking about it yesterday, and I think you may be missing Dubai. So different with you guys a little bit. You know, we start from Vietnam, and then we think Dubai was the best one at that time. So we went to Dubai, you know, set up our headquarters. And recently we decided to move back to the state and, you know, set it our headquarters and to be more compliant. And because it's our business mostly focused in real estate, and there's a lot of, we are doing the first phase, which is putting 50 million of real estate from Vietnam into the chain, and going to be, you know, expectedly, you know, I think it would be a large amount of US resident home on chain as well. So it's better, you know, be in here. And so I think that what we call a protocol is more what we need, and I think that's what we are building. Because everybody talking about real world access, but you know, I think we just know what it is, but how to really operate it, it's everywhere on doing different things, right? And if we are building a community of real world access, we start with foundation, we start with standard, we start with rules, and that's what we're doing. So we're trying to build a community of crowdsourcing based on the first protocol of real-world access, and we're building, and that is where we think that will solve a lot of, you know, the ugly things that was there, because everything that this get everyone to be on the same boat, and together we grow this real-world access industry.
I love that. Well, I mean, as you mentioned, even if it is unsexy, you're doing crowdfunding. People are interested in this. People want a piece of the RWA tokenization. So what are you doing to crowdsource? What are you doing to bring so many people on board to this?
Well, I think I wouldn't need to do anything, you know, because there's a demand there, right? There's a driver. There's people love to be transparent, right? People love to be more stable. People love to have that opportunity to have higher yield, and people don't like complicated things. And you know, I think we just follow the flow. This is what people need. So we don't really create the demand here. This demand is already there. We're just trying to solve this problem, you know, using the technology that will work. It was never worked before. You know, with the, I would say the best setup of Web 2 technology, it doesn't solve that problem. But with blockchain technology, we believe that it was solving this, you know, in our industry.
I love that. And speaking of, I love how you said that everyone is interested. You're not having to sell them. Scott, let's talk about accessibility. How are you bringing the general public to this?
Oh yeah, so they've explained what they do in their sector. So for us, we focus on real world applications. So let's take eLoop, for example. Not everyone can just buy a Tesla or 100 Teslas like eLoop has. They're actually crowdsourced. So think about crowdsourcing 100 Teslas, but we all own a fraction of that, and every day we check our dashboard and we see how much we are earning. This could be applied to windmills, solar power plants, virtual power plants, and then the crossover, right, with the access and liquidity. If somebody is interested in owning a fraction of a Tesla fleet, why wouldn't they want to know how they can get in on a fraction of a real estate or something that maybe you're building, Kevin? So yeah, I really think that the main thing for RWAs is access and liquidity and things like uranium, right? Like uranium to me was always some like weapon, right? I didn't know like it could be tokenized and you can make money on it, and look what uranium 30B is doing. So I think giving people a piece of the action that they would have never, been involved with, or maybe they don't know any of us in the finance world or the tech world, and they've always been interested in it, and now it's really a step away. And the other thing that he brought up as well is, yeah, you really don't do anything. There's a need for everything that's been discussed, whether it's real estate, and we could even bring that up where, okay, not everyone could go buy $1 million house or a house in Miami, but we can crowdsource the money together and maybe own the building, and now we're all sharing the revenue. So whether that's tokenizing, there's actually a robot in the lobby. You guys saw it. It's a coffee arm. At Peak, we actually tokenize that exact machine. And so every day, if we crowdsource 100 people for that particular coffee machine, we check our dashboard and we see how much money it makes, and we all split it every single day. Now think about this for somebody in an underdeveloped country. They put a outlet in their house. Now their extra power can be sold on a secondary market, and now that outlet is making $8 a day. To us, that's not a big deal, but someone in a fishing village in an underdeveloped country, that's life-changing. So yeah, just the liquidity and access to things that people would not even know about, never be able to be a part of, and it's kind of like the great equalizer.
Oh, I love that idea. I love that idea. Even like you mentioned uranium. No, none of us can just go to the store and buy uranium. But with RWAs, that's something you can tokenize. We can own that. People can own that. And I also think that's something that everyone can easily understand. And you had also mentioned liquidity. I think that's a huge benefit of RWAs. And I was talking to Shai about this, Nadav, and I know you can tell us a little bit more about liquidities in terms of financial markets, because maybe traditional finance, that wasn't something that was a benefit, but it is with RWAs. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Liquidity is the big challenge here for all the sectors and everything we've discussed, but it's getting there. We've listed Republic, for example, super interesting partner of ours, Republic.com, the investment platform. So when they come and they list their security token on our exchange, investors come in and they cross-pollinate with other industries. You talked about uranium. We have a token called the hash rate token. They did a tokenized offering on our platform. They're actually a Bitcoin mining operation, and if you own their token, you get kind of dividends on chain. And as a retail investor, you don't really have to. You don't have to expose yourself to Bitcoin if you don't want to, and different tax rates and whatever you are, but you're exposed to cryptocurrency and to Bitcoin just by investing in that company. There was a big, maybe just the last. I think that the bottom line is that we're slowly going industry by industry, getting the companies in. The investors kind of wake up. This week it was Watford FC in England. If you heard about the soccer team on the Championship League. So together with Republic, our partners, we worked for a year with these guys. You have to educate the whole company. It's a big deal, but they finally did it. They issued this week. You have the opportunity, if you'd like, to go online, and they offer 10% of their equity, and you get fan benefits, and it's real digital equity. It's not kind of anything around that. So very exciting. It's a process. But we really hope that slowly this way, proper adoption will come in.
Yes, I want to talk more about that. Maybe, Kevin, you can shed some light, because here we are. When we mention it, you guys get it, right? As soon as you hear all of these benefits, the average person understands it and says, yeah, I want to be a part of that. But what I see the problem are the institutions. Like you mentioned, they're so slow in understanding how this could benefit them. And I wondered, Kevin, if you've seen a difference in terms of industry and in terms of location, of maybe some people are more prone to adapt it more than others.
Yeah, just off of what he said about like these Watford, right? That's a sports team. And we're going to have an influx probably this year, any day now. It feels like a little late, but celebrity tokens, right? You're going to see celebrity tokens. Yes, you heard that right, like Kim Kardashian coin or whatever. And brands will love it because they want to pay her at a dividend of what she would charge in a fiat, and maybe she would charge less in her token. Her fans could get a dividend as a reward or whatever. So that's coming. Very similar to that version of sports. She can do it herself. She is the crowd fund, she is everything, right, as a celebrity. Then you have another version of tokens coming in, which might look like B2B tokens, brand tokens, Coca-Cola token in the next, 3 years. And things like that will come. What does that mean, right? But what is that going to do for me today? Right, and when can I transact? So your question of like international, have you seen it done better or faster? I say, yeah, absolutely. Is because MR is the largest developer in Dubai, and any day now, right? They've had their metaverse, they've had all these things, and they hire within. They don't third party out. So they have teams ready for everything. It just comes down to that one word and something out of all of our hands. That's regulation. It's when can they do it? When can they pull the trigger to offer Coca-Cola coin in Dubai? That when you buy Coca-Colas in Dubai, you get a 50% off if you use the Coca-Cola token, right? Because they're closest in Dubai, I'd say Turkey, Vietnam. I know these places because they're the highest usage per capita of crypto, wallet holders, active or dormant. And so these are the places that you can offer these token opportunities. But again, it comes down to regulations, because in America, it's the securities, right? So we have Socios as a platform. Maybe you've heard of them. Socios, just like how it sounds. They're a fan token platform, from Real Madrid to LA Kings to all over. But there's no utility in that token, right? It's just a native token inside. I know the guys really well. They're really good guys. I see you shaking like I know the guys.
Not
really
regulated.
No, but you can't do anything with it, right? But enter these fan tokens and brand tokens that are coming, which are RWAs. That's what an RWA is. It's a real world asset. And don't mistake DePIN, and he can explain it much better than me. What DePIN and RWAs, they are not the same thing. They are not the same thing, right? They can be classified under maybe the same umbrella as a parent, but they are not the same thing. And DePIN is actually doing amazing things. Just type Filecoin for the last 6 years, and you can see what they're doing, and hundreds of other dApps and projects underneath that. But real-world assets is this, right? Everything in this room that can be tokenized and hopefully democratized.
Can I just add something really quickly, because I really connected. We have I think it's really interesting. The football clubs and all that stuff, but I think it's even more interesting. Okay, Kardashian, she's a celebrity already, but what about those mini celebrities that you might like and you think that they're going to be big? We're having discussion with these type of people. What about athletes that you really like, but they're not mainstream yet? Maybe you believe in them. Maybe they need an maybe they want to raise. If you believe in them and they have a fan base, what happens if, God forbid, they break their leg next year or 2 years? They have a policy. And you can be part of that policy and really, so I think that's just to add to what you said, 100%. I think it's an interesting aspect.
Without that infrastructure of what you just said, so what he just explained was an infrastructure of like investing in the next LeBron James so that he has a little bit of insurance to go and play an extra hour and not worry about that injury or whatever. Maybe the DAO structure can be built around the future LeBron James that would support his future injuries and things like that. Remove all of that infrastructure, and that same thing is happening right now in gaming and esports. When a kid logs on to Kick or Twitch and streams to 8,000 concurrent viewers, that community will do anything that kid says. Now, if he says, hey guys, I'm having trouble funding my next boot camp to Korea to get better and I want to rank with it, they'll fund him. So we actually already have these mechanisms at play today. We just don't have the infrastructure to benefit us, to benefit everyone here, which is where, again, those 3 letters is bigger and broader than just commodities or real estate. It can be a streamer.
And I think that's interesting too. Maybe Scott, you can shed some light onto this. So we have streamers. We have the next LeBron James. How do they get involved in this? How can they RWA themselves?
So this is the tricky question. And if you if you follow me, you know I come from the entertainment business. And I love what you guys brought up because Bobby Shmurda is actually dropping a Shmurda coin and is gonna have utility. We finally got through to somebody. Yo, like, dude, take your fan base and, you know, give them value, whether it's a Discord call, right? That's so low hanging for artists. Show up in Discord, pop in video, hi to the Bobby Shmurda fans. They will go crazy. And here's another thing. Imagine if you had a Kai Cenat token his first year, how much that would be worth now. And then, like you said, you helped him on his journey. Like, he's gonna remember the Genesis 3,000 holders like forever, and you'll always think about, you'll always maybe be rewarded higher because you're that Genesis, you know, first believer, first mover for someone like Kai Cenat. And it all goes back to what you said, it's the framework. And it's this annoying headache in all of, whether it's DPIN, whether it's RWA, whether that's assets or applications, it just hurts because even with FarmCent, right, they tokenize unused farmland. The president of Indonesia has signed on, but I can't get anything done here. And, you know, I'm born and bred in California. You guys know about the Dust Bowl in Fresno. They said, we'll never give you water, so we don't care how much you tokenize. We'll never approve the water. So that's the thing where I have the president of Indonesia saying, I will give you 35 million farmers, tokenize it all. And if you guys don't know what that means, think about farmland with farmers that they can't afford it anymore, or maybe they don't have the money. We crowdsource. Now we are supplying the insurance, the supplies, and now we're all getting a cut off the farmland, but the farmers keeping 40%, 50%, 60%. And back to the original question, I think it's gonna be what everyone's doing on here. It's just to lead the way. Okay, now Bobby's doing that. Now maybe Kim's people will be, okay, well, Bobby didn't have an issue with that, and it's good, but as long as it's in America, it's always gonna be a problem, or Canada as of now. And yeah, I'm really bullish on things like Indonesia, Colombia, Thailand. These are all people like thinking past us right now, and it's honestly embarrassing.
Well, what I would love to do is to leave the audience with a CTA call to action. We watch a lot of these panels, and they're all amazing, but sometimes it's information overload. And so what I'm going to have each of the panelists do is leave you with one thought, one nugget of wisdom that you can take away from each panel. Tim, can you tell us one nugget of wisdom of RWAs that you want to leave with the audience today?
Wow, this is difficult.
Thank God I wasn't first.
Well, you know, I always believe in just move forward and, you know, believe in yourself. So I think that, you know, as long as you just know what you want, then you just move forward. And I think that is what we believe in RWA is, you know, and not only from belief by just believe in yourself, you know, we also have data to back it up in my presentation, as you know. For, you know, our current analysis from a lot of professionals, let's say three markets, the cryptocurrencies, the real estate, and the RWA. Real estate is the biggest right now, for sure. And cryptocurrency, the second one, and smallest one is RWA. And only to 2030, which is only, you know, 4 or 5 years, 6 years from now, the cryptocurrency is the biggest industry in the world. And then the second one is RWA already. And then the last one is real estate. Now, you know, real estate is one of the assets that one of the most difficult real estate, and, you know, the assets to play with because it cannot be moved, and it's too big and it's too serious. That's why we have to be in the state to be serious. But you see the trend, you see the analysis, you see all the forecasts. That means that things are going on chain. So that means that you are probably on the right track and believe in yourself and moving forward. So that's my say.
Thank you so much. If you guys didn't catch Tim's presentation yesterday about Realcoin, that was wonderful. Kevin.
I think there's some really good projects currently trying around the world to do something in these three letters of RWAs, but they're not in the States. And because you're an investor in the States, non-accredited, you can't really touch a lot of those. So you'd have to go to those jurisdictions. Switzerland specifically is unique in the commodities market. Dubai, there's some, I know you guys tried in Dubai in real estate. The only way right now in Dubai specifically is going through lawyers and trusts, which is okay, better than nothing. But I would say instead of, if you're not going to invest or take a look at it, because fractional ownership, right? $100, $1,000 maximum, you can get into about 10 of these platforms and just try. I said the same thing about the metaverse. You don't have an avatar, you should have one. If you don't have a DeFi, if you don't know how to swap, you should swap and then learn DeFi, like just a couple dollars, you can do this. Now with RWAs, you could do the same thing. I think you just gave me such an aha moment that for the last 10 minutes, I've been thinking of this new idea that I wanted to implement in one of our companies. Because when you think about RWAs and NFTs, it's that third word in tokenization. And you could tokenize everything. You could tokenize anything. I have a common phrase that I've been saying for 10 years is tokenize everything. And so in the future, every stock, bond, commodity, lending, or otherwise as a financial instrument will be tokenized. And then Mr. Fink, just about a year ago, said literally what I just said. Everything will be tokenized by 2030. You know,
16 trillion.
16 trillion, which is 150x from where we're at. So there's enough to go around. Find something in your business, physical, tangible, or intangible, that you can try to tokenize in the future. Not today, but what does that mean for your client base, for your community, and the democratization of your product or service that can go bounds and reaches outside of America because of the opportunities in tokenization. And it's those aha moments that I got one on stage. It's like, okay, wait, I can actually tokenize that part of that one commodity today. And I think that's really cool. So learn about how you can democratize your product and service, which will lead you to tokenization.
Go ahead, Scott.
Oh yeah, no, I love what you just said. For me, yeah, start today. Whether that's, you know, a Pokemon card that you could. I know there's collectors in here, right? Check out Courtyard. You could tokenize your Pokemon cards. They're actually stored in a Brinks safe in Utah until you're ready. Either you can burn the NFT and you get the physical back, or we can just trade it and trade it and trade it and hold it and hold it. All the way up to, you know, maybe tokenized credit is not your thing, but collectibles is. Just get involved in some way today. And the old bull run, you either had to be a masterful trader, an NFT, the owner of D-Gods, or whatever it is. Not anymore. Every sector is open. Whether, if you work in garbage, there's something called voluntary recycle credits, right? It doesn't matter what sector, what you do in life, there's a place for you in RWAs. And yeah, make sure check out Peak Network and build the economy of things with us. You can start today. And yeah, that would be my call to action. There's no reason not to be involved anymore on the sideline with RWA.
Super well said, guys. Like there's something for everything then. And 7 years ago, in 2017, we found a subsidy for potholes that a government was willing to, I think it was Wyoming, that you could fill potholes and they would reward you in Bitcoin. And that's amazing. That's a now version of RWA. So if you just research it, Indonesia has some really amazing opportunities as well. I don't know if you're Indonesian and you said that, but that was...
Oh, no, FarmSent. We just signed them to Peak to tokenize farmland because it's just barren land. And
that's amazing. And then you were talking about robotic servers. Yeah. So farmland, robotic server, like...
Pokemon cards. I mean,
there's enough
garbage
to go around. Yeah, really well said.
Nadav.
Yeah, I agree with everything. I think I'll take it to kind of maybe a more institutional, but a higher level of like bigger projects. I would say the Watford FC is a good example where they kind of experiment and take 10% of equity. And we see issuers coming in and tokenizing under US kind of SEC securitization law, they tokenize a specific product, a specific business line, not the whole thing all the way. And you can do that as long as you're transparent, the proper paperwork and everything, but they don't, so experimenting even as a big issue in big projects. And I guess my big thing to say here is do it, especially if it's something big, do it in a regulated manner, even if it's a little bit more lawyering, a little bit more red tape, but it's important. We don't want anything like the ICO frenzy of 2017, everybody will get knocked off the stage for a couple of years if that happens. So big projects, yeah.
Anything worth doing is worth doing right. Yes. Can we give a round of applause to our panelists? That was amazing, wasn't it? Yes. I saved some time for questions, so please raise your hand if you have a question. Right up here.
Are we going back to bartering? So I have a fraction of a for a real world asset one type, and I want to exchange it with a real world asset of another, and just swap the two instead of going through currency to do that. So are we going back to the days before cash, before money?
No, I think I'll take it. Like the way I see it is in the future, just like when you get on your Charles Schwab or TD Ameritrade or whatever trading account right now, all you have is stocks, bonds, right? And I want to trade, and now even some platforms are doing fractional ownership of stocks, so you could buy half of Tesla stock or a quarter of one. So in the future, I'll trade a quarter Tesla stock. I'll do 5 Microsoft. I'll do 2% of my home in Malibu. I'll do 1% of my commercial space in Dubai. I'll do 13% of the equity in whatever startup that's getting less. You see what I'm saying? Like you're going to see democratization of the products under one platform, so you could trade them in an instant instead of having to go through escrow and things like that. Once we tokenize something like real estate, you can have a dashboard of 55 whatever amount of real estate investments in decimal form, and you can move those really quickly to cash or a CBDC or whatever is in the future.
Right, but the question was slightly different, so thank you for that. But so you have whatever percent of a real estate in Indonesia, and I have whatever percent of a fraction of an Apple stock. Will we trade the two assets, or do we have to go to cash before we can, before?
I think it goes back to the framework again, because so Polytrade Financial, I would say they have one of the best marketplaces for everything. So you can trade Oris, which is they tokenize platinum, gold, silver. They also have the Pokemon cards from Courtyard, but their question, you would have to swap to USDC if you're, now though, this is all brand new. We're in the first inning of RWAs. If you even want top of the first, one out first inning, definitely I see that happening down the line. Just today with all, like what we said, these laws, frameworks, country to country, city to city, it's all different. So you're gonna see more of these Polytrade financial platforms where it's like this all in one. You could even buy the USDY Ondo at 100,000 a pop while buying your Pokemon card at the same time. So I think we'll see more and more. Just today, a swap for a swap would be really cool. But I forgive me if I'm wrong, I don't know a platform that just does swap for swap yet, just because, like I said, the laws right now.
I think it's less likely to happen. I mean, because the more time goes by, more decentralized, more the common denominator of dollar to USDC to the crypto to everything. Just it's easier, lower transaction costs. So that's probably it's just very cheap to always have a common denominator, whatever that is, and buy whatever you want. There's no reason to barter products. I would say probably less and less.
Mr. Fink is building a portfolio though. He has an ETF. He's buying most single-family homes in America. He has a bunch of other assets that if they decide to tokenize the BlackRock product, you could easily swap. But I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
I'm sorry, we don't have any more time for questions. Round of applause again for our panelists. Thank you. They will be available for questions outside so that we can make space for the next panel. Thank you.